Hello, everybody. Welcome to Clown Spirit, where we use the power of clowning to bring lightness, joy, and connection to your life and the lives of everybody around you. Today, I'm going to be doing another Clown-versation with the amazing Brazilian clown artist, Ricardo Puccetti. So if you love clown and you want to know more about clown, you are in the right place. The conversation with a fellow clown. It's not very serious, we're clowning around. It's really just a clown-versation. All right, there we go. So my name is Barnaby King and I am the founder of Clown Spirit. And today we're talking to Ricardo Puccetti, who I'm going to introduce in just a moment. But before I do, just a quick appeal to you guys to keep supporting Clown Spirit's free content. We have a number of ways that you can do that. I have an amazing clown shop now, which I've just opened, and we have some very cool stuff. We have bags, we have mugs, we have t-shirts in various different sizes, styles, and colors. You can find them all here at my website, clownspirit.com/shop. And if you don't want a t-shirt, you can just buy me a coffee. And this actually goes towards supporting Clown Spirit and the free content that I'm bringing you every day, all to do with clowning. So that's that. You're very, very welcome. If you're here, please give us a shout in the comments. Say hi. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I already see Juliano Borges. Hi there. Let us know where you are today, where you're tuning in from. Any questions that you'd like to ask Ricardo at any point during the conversation, or you'd just like to chime in and join in, then please just throw those into the comments as well. We'd like this to be a community, a conversation where everyone's involved. All right. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Ricardo, who is, I mean, simply one of the best performers I know. Since the first time I saw him, I was mesmerized by his magnetic presence and his energy on stage. He's an incredible person, incredible performer. He's been part of LUME Teatro, which is a very, very important reference point in Latin American theater and internationally as well. Since 1988, he's been with LUME Teatro. He studied with all the greats of physical theater and clowning, including Philippe Gaulier, Nani Colombaioni, Morrison, Natsu, Nakajima, Tadashi, Endo. And, you know, he's one of the most important people in the world of clowning today. So I'm very, very delighted that he is here today with me on Clown-versations. Hello, Ricardo.
Hello, Barnaby. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very happy to have you on Clown-versations. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really also very looking forward to talk with you about such a nice theme, such an important theme that is the laughter, the clowning, the touching people. So I'm here in Brazil, ready to talk.
Wonderful. How are things in Brazil? Because I know you've got elections coming up very soon. How is it feeling?
Yes, we have elections on Sunday, and it looks like the end of, I don't know if the end, but maybe an interval of a big nightmare for the last years we are having here. And the elections, I think, is a bit a possibility of changing the course of everything we are having here. I think Brazil now maybe is one of the places in the world where we most need clowns, because it's a chaos, it's full of violence, full of intolerance, and the lack of possibilities of real human meetings, if you understand me what I mean. And let's see, the elections is on Sunday. I hope will be a big change. The government that is here, it's a catastrophe, but it's a beginning also, like a big wheel will be a beginning either way,
Yes, there's always change, right? And it's like, just surfing those changes is exhausting sometimes.
Exactly. We live in a time that is the changes are becoming more and more fast and frequent and more often, no, and we needed to deal with that. It's like everything is a good thing. You can't rely on anything anymore. No, you needed to be ready to challenge your values, to challenge how you see the world. In the other hand, is like you say, it's tiring, no? Also,
Yeah.
but
So let's stay with that theme for a moment. How does clowning help us to navigate those changes, as you say, that are happening more and more quickly now, right? And we need help with that. We need to kind of change our strategies and our approaches to how we live life, because things aren't, maybe a few generations ago, there was a sort of stability, and it just feels like every year, every couple of years, we go through these big shifts and we're adapting to new circumstances. So is the clown something, does the clown have something there that is a useful tool to help us as a race to deal with that?
I know, and I think it is. I think it's a very important figure. I think for now, for this moment, for this everything we are living, because basically the clowns in our universe, in our way of thinking, for me, one of the most important things is to open new possibilities. I saw on your wall, you have actually a beautiful wall full of beautiful people and beautiful, like, I like to be contrary. I think that in a very wild way to think about is what we need, to be contrary, because I want to be contrary, like a child wants to be contrary, because being looking for the opposite, you open possibilities, you see another angles. And this now is what the human race needs. For me, this is one point, because the way we are going, the way we developed our way of life, it's like it looks like a train without a brake going to the abyss, no, like in terms of the planet, in terms of economics, how unfair is the whole distribution of opportunities, let's say, for people in terms of countries inside the same country. This is one side that I think the clown can help, because can train people to see things in another way. In this, the clown can do in many possibilities. Even, for example, a clown trying to sit in a chair and discovering new possibilities of doing that, or failing and achieving something, or even discovering that the chair is not just for you to sit, so that in a small level you can take far, this possibility. So the other thing that is important, I think, is because the clown is this figure that put people together, with their differences, and diverse, also diverse of bodies, diverse of cultures, diverse of ways to find solutions for the life. It's being very challenged in these days. People don't, in general, don't want to diverse so much. Like it's now there's a wave, let's say, contrary to that. So I think the clown can, like a market territory, can help people to see the importance.
So
I don't know.
In both ways that you just described, bring together that idea of being contrary, right? That the clown goes opposite to the dominant trend. So if the dominant trend is to go into groups of our own kind and not to mix, then the clown wants to do the opposite of that and to connect across boundaries.
Yes, exactly. Across different territories, across different world views. I think it's important. And what is beautiful, it's because it's through laughter, not just laughter in a monolithic way. There's a big range of laughter possibilities, and how you touch people, you make them feel things or think, or also
Yeah,
thinking in a different way, not just the ha 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 all the time. No,
yeah,
it's a big range
it's beautiful.
yes.
I can see that people are saying hi in the comments. I'm sorry that we're doing this in English today, because I know that some people joining us will be in Brazil, and
Yeah,
I'm terrible at Portuguese. I speak Spanish, but my Portuguese isn't so great.
you speak really well Spanish. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, but I don't find it translates into Portuguese at all. So.
Yeah, but I think people can follow what I say because my English is very basic. So
Your English is excellent. I mean, you spend a lot of time in England, actually.
yes, yes. No, I because of family. No, Naomi, you had a conversation with Naomi some time ago. She's English, and my two daughters also are English. So
Yes.
yeah.
So just want to mention again to people who are just tuning in, do say hi in the comments. It'd be really great to know who's there, and let us know, where are you in the world? Are you in Brazil? Are you somewhere else? Where are you? What town? What city? What part of the world? And if you have any questions, or you just want to comment on the conversation or kind of chime in, that would be really awesome. So we can make this a kind of real Clown-versation beyond just the two of us. So, Ricardo, what you just said for me brought up a kind of insecurity, I guess, that I have, because I am with you. Like, I want to bring this power and energy of clowning out to as many people as possible, and I believe in its potential to help us in this moment. But I also feel how small our community is compared in the world, and how difficult it is to make any impact on the world. So how do you think about that? Like, how do you keep yourself going on a daily basis and thinking, no, we can actually make a difference?
Well, yeah, I already some time ago, I don't know, I also had this view that because you feel really small, if you look around and if you look how much you can influence. But then I start to think that it's, I think I already talked with you, I think, some time ago about that. I think then there is your space. What is how you not how far can you achieve? For example, in your family, then you're inside your, like, for example, like my group, like LUME, and then LUME, as a collective and as individuals. So if you think every one of us, we have a big influence, because it, of course, is not, we are not in the big media, or no, with the internet today is even bigger, than was before. But, like, for example, I love to teach. Since a long time ago, when I was young, like, my 20s, I started to teach, because my master said, "Oh, you go now, you continue with these apprentices," and that we had at the time. So, and I see after so many years how many people have worked with me and with other people also, but that I can feel, I can see that I left an imprint. And so many clowns professionals now, and then they also teach and then direct, and they it's that is a way to spread.
Yeah.
Or when you do a performance. So every clown, Barnaby, I don't know, has a way to do what we talked about, to move people, to change the point of views. And for example, the great, is a friend also, Leo Bassi, for example. He's a clown buffon. His style, his way to do, there's always like a message. He's very clear. He has a discourse. He will do his stuff and speak very precise themes.
Yeah.
It's his way. I in the other hand, I'm more in the general, I'm more in the human. So I am very satisfied when I do a performance and I manage to create in the audience the same spirit of playfulness that I have as a clown.
Yeah.
And for me, that is also very political and is very, it changed something. I don't think about what will happen because that is not my responsibility, what people will do with that. But at least it's experience that people can, they come to a performance and they live, they go through something and they live in a different. No, that is
They,
important.
they leave different. Yeah. Just want to say hi to Paolo from Curitiba.
Curitiba, I know Paulo. Good clown. He's also, we work together.
Awesome. Welcome, Paolo. And Just Be from Wesleyan, Oregon, just up the road. And Adriana from Santos. You know, yeah. So that's Brazil as well. So you're very welcome.
Yes.
Let us know, guys, if you have any questions for Ricardo. So, yeah, what you just said really made me think of Sue Morrison, Ricardo, just because something about people have to leave differently from how they came in. And Sue always says that. Yes. It's one of her mantras, right? There's no point in doing it if people leave the same. So it's just making me want to ask you about the influences on your clowning, and then maybe we'll come back to talking about the work you're doing at the moment, because you've really got all these different influences. You know, what was your first exposure to clown?
Yeah, okay. My first contact, I come from a very small town in Brazil. It's called Pinhal. It's very small. And when I was small in that town, that was like 20,000 people, more or less, there was nothing there, no, for you to do. It's built, there was many things in the nature and that, all that, but in terms of culture, was very limited. So the most, I don't know if you read 100 Years of Solitude of Garcia Marquez. There is a part of the book when the gypsies, the travelers, they arrived in the town, no, bringing all the novelties, everything that is like poetry and enchantment, you say, for this small town. So for me, the experience was the circus. When the circus arrived in that small town, they used to do like a parades in the street, you know, with everybody, all the artists. So that for me was my first contact. And my grandfather, he loved that also, and he used to take me to the circus and to the cinema where I could see the greatest, no, Lauren Hard, that for me is my passion, Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and we saw that on the cinema, no. So that was my first influence, and from that I got this passion to do that. I had an experience then when I was more or less 15 years old doing a play in my school. That was a comic play, a traditional Brazilian play. Alto da Compadecida, Ariano Suassuna, the author. I played João Grilo, that was this character that is a kind of clown. And I had a moment, a scene that this João Grilo had like a conflict, an argument with the devil. And my friend did the devil, like very children's play, 15 years old, with a trident, and we got in a fight, arguing, and he would bang the trident. So we rehearsed that. In the moment of the performance, we did for the whole school, families, very full. In that moment when we did the scene, I was very close to him. When he did the action, where is my hand? My hand, like, did this action, I put my foot to the front. Like, it was not an idea just with my my head, was my body, and
Yeah.
tried to hit my foot.
Yeah.
That was totally improvised, and I was very painful, and I jumped like that. So the audience came like laughing a lot, and my colleague, my friend, he didn't know what to do, the devil, because it was the first time I did that. So in that moment, I felt this beautiful feeling that when people laugh
Yeah.
with you, let's say, or in this context. And then that was my first uh, contact, and then I decided I want to do that, and I came to Campinas,
Yeah.
worked a lot in the street alone, and then came to LUME. So, and all
And
these people.
did you learn corporeal mime from Luis Otavio
Burnier.
Burnier? Because he studied with Decroux.
Yeah, he was a student and assistant of the crew. I had first 3 years, more or less, that I worked alone. Every Saturday, I would go to the center of Campinas as a clown and doing basically nothing. It's just taking the clown to... There was no clown. I was very young, and I was never... There was no workshops. If you were not from the circus, you had no access, actually. That was in the beginning of the 80s.
Yeah.
So I just improvised with the street, how to cross the street, how to sit in a bench in a square, this kind of thing, and improvising all the time. And then I met Luis Otavio, who had this beautiful, strong education. We worked with so many important people: Etienne Decroux, Grotowski, Barba, Japanese and Indian from India masters, and then he initiated me in the he was when he was in France, he worked with Gaulier in Lecoq.
Right.
So that was my first more like
Formal.
dance, yes, with a teaching, with a teacher.
So at that point, you were already combining many influences. It wasn't a pure technique, because
No.
Yeah,
Was a lot of what I saw, and what I was a lot is very much to do with passion, like I really loved that. And I tried to do, I think I have, as a personality, I have two sides. I think the clown saved me as a person, because I was really shy. When I am shy, but when I was a child, very shy. And this thing of putting myself in a situation, I don't know how I did that, but I always was putting myself in front of people all the time. My mother used to say, "This is not my son. I don't know. He at home when he plays guitar, he locks the door. He stays inside. Nobody. So what he's doing there?" So I had this size to do the contrary, because as a person I was very close, and so there was this. I don't know why I'm speaking about that. So I had a lot of influence, because then I love to see the films and Jerry Lewis on TV.
Yeah.
All the people, I think.
So I'm really curious, Ricardo, to ask you about the contrast between different teachers and how you incorporate their work. Because, for example, Sue, and you've worked with Sue Morrison, and we had her on Clown-versations a few weeks ago. And then Nani Colombaioni. So come from very different schools and directions of clowning. And I wonder how you see the contrast or how complementary those different techniques are in your work.
Yeah. Yes. No. So then when I started to work with a master, was with Otavio, who had this influence of Philippe Gaulier. There's one thing. Then came Nani Colombaioni, Sue, and other people. I worked a bit with Leo Bassi. I did a workshop with him and other people. I think I was saying that was the clown saving me in one way, because I was very close. In the other hand, I am very stubborn. So I think always intuitively I said I want my own way. So I always approach these people with a lot of respect and admiration, every one of them, and really not trying to see, oh, Nani Colombaioni, it comes from this strong tradition comes from the circus. They come before the circus. The Colombaioni, they are from the Commedia dell'arte as a family. They are 6, 7 generations already. And Su Morrison is totally different approach. So I always trying to find what was common and what touched me more, what was important in my own way to do. So Su, I could, for example, I have a kind of craziness in the way I do my clown. I work as a clown. And I found that in Su. I found that in Nani. It's totally different. Nani is the absurd, but in a more, how can I say, in a more constructed way. They have the gags, they have because they come from somewhere, but their creativity is very surreal many times. And Su is totally freedom, I think, that you can do what you want. It's your own universe. It's from there you take the stuff. So I found very complementary, actually, and very similar. I don't see oppositions. I know, for example, when we had the experience, when Su meets one Colombaioni, for example, it's not easy because both of them are very strong in their way, and many times they do like that. But as a one who are from outside of this, I just admire, I just love the both ways. And then Philippe, I think all the pleasure of being on the stage and not being so. Su has that also. You don't take everything so seriously, like you. To be able to do the contrary, you cannot be orthodox, in a way that you need to be flexible, even with things you believe, So this is nice, and the things that in their different ways, Philippe, Su, and Nani, for example, they look for what is more peculiar, what is more singular, what's more personal in their own different ways. And I found, when I worked with these three, for example, and Luis Otavio Burnier also, he had the same. He was the first master, and who showed me all the possibilities in this universe. That it needs to be something that is yours. Nani Colombaioni, for example, when he worked with me a number that was from his repertoire, and he taught me everything, and then he said, when I managed to do like he wanted, he said, okay, after some years doing that, or some time, if you don't feel that it's you, that doesn't belong to you, you just don't do anymore, because it's not for you. So it's this, everyone looks for the same, who is the person that is being a clown,
Right. Yes. And how does, because the first time I ever saw you was in Shizen and the Seven Bowls in Edinburgh. And I was just absolutely blown away by that show, the power of it.
You saw in Edinburgh.
Yeah. And that was directed by Tadashi Endo.
Yes.
So there was this other influence then that came into LUME at a certain point of butoh and Tadashi's work.
Yes.
So how did that influence? How do you see that work?
Because actually in LUME's history, the clown came after, as a center, let's say, as a company and a center for the research of the act performers' work. Our first focus was the physical theater, how every performer from his body, her body, takes everything that is inside and gives shapes. shapes, dances, rhythms that are not close to partitures, not that, but how your body is trained, your body and your mind, to be very expressive and very connected to what you are in the moment. So that was our first, through training, through work with exhaustion. That is a very Grotowski way. So we stayed hours and hours for years, me, Luis Otavio Burnier, and Carlos Simeone doing that. And then the other actors and actors also. That was always our base. And the clown came after that. So already we had an approach how to work with the body that was creating and following the impulses. And then also this is the more or less the base of my teaching for clowning, no? So that I think it gives a very interesting quality for the way we do the clown work. It's totally basic in the body. So the butoh people, our first master, the first contact was with Natsu Nakajima, who was let's say, the first generation of butoh, because she was from the group of Tatsumi Jikata, who was the creator of butoh, and then Kazuo Ono, no? Then the two together. So was this work she did with us, no? Like finding all the image, like not finding, taking everything, the feelings and the emotions and the images that they are inside us and putting in the body and dancing that. And when I work clown myself or with other people, I always do this work because I think it's important. Like a child, has a body that has impulses and just act in the time and in the space. Don't think too much. That was our motto always in LUME. Don't think, just do. Don't think, just do. And you learn another way of thinking that is with your body. Of course, as an actor or as a clown, the rational thinking is together. There's one point that all together. For example, when I said this situation, when I put my foot for the devil to do that with the trident, I can't separate what was, but I just did. That was before, of course, before all the training. But it's a bit of this feeling to find this. So the butoh, for me, is totally clown work. When I see Tadashi dancing, not that I laugh. Sometimes I do laugh what things that he does, because I don't know, it's funny, but it's very singular. It's very in the moment. So there is a connection there.
It's interesting that example, to come back to that example of the trident and being stabbed in the foot as a provocation for being in the body, and if accidents like that happen, that kind of forces you to come very much into the body, right? And that's what you discovered in that moment. But then as actors, we have to figure out how to create the same effect without being stabbed in the foot every time.
Yes.
So, it's interesting. It sounds to me like the work that you did with exhaustion in LUME was one strategy to force the body to force yourself to come out of the mind and into the body, in the same way that if you got stabbed with a trident, because you are in a state of heightened physical discomfort, perhaps. And I wonder because you don't work with exhaustion now necessarily, or always. So what other strategies have you found or used that help clowns or performers to get out of their heads and just work from the body in that way without going through the exhaustion or physical discomfort?
Yes, nowadays it's like that. After so many years doing this kind of training, there is a point that is you incorporate and you access this state, let's say, without needing to go through that. No, like you open. I think it's we speak about body and mind. I think like when people I never did like very deeply, but people do meditation, for example, and they manage to be a whole, to be present, to feel everything, to perceive everything. So the training, the body training, gave us LUME this, so that. And then for example, when I'm performing, many people say that, my God, you don't miss one thing, that one people just move in the chair in the theater or everywhere or any space, and you can perceive that. This is a training. No, it's I think from everything I went through. So another thing, how to make really live what you are doing as a clown, is to be able to, like a jongler, to be able to be. Are you there?
Yes.
Are you there, Barnaby?
Yes. Have you
People,
lost?
I am here alone, or with...
No, you're there. You're good. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like we have many focus. No, we have the material the clown he needs to do. No, his scene, his gags, or whatever, his text, his ideas. How he does that for that space, that people. How he really do everything for the individuals, like fishing with like a stick, not with a net, like very individual. So the accidents, the comments that can come from the audience, what he doesn't expect in the way he does. So I think being aware of all this makes you in the moment. And it is not a focus that, for me, is not like that. The focus is very, like how I explain that. It's the focus is opened.
Yeah.
But it brings you to a situation that you are like this, because it's a diverse. It's a mosaic, but it's a whole. It's a very confusing, no?
And this outward focus makes me think, as you speak of it, it makes me think of the ephemeral cabaret performance that you do. And I saw that in Cali, in Colombia, a few years ago at the Clown Encuentro. And I think it's a piece you're still doing
yes,
quite frequently. And you have the audience on the same level as you, all around you, around. And so you're, in a way, you're just, it kind of captures, for me, physically, that idea of this outward connection. I mean, you have to be aware of what's going on behind you.
Yes.
What's going on all sides of you and in front of you.
Yeah.
And that's an incredible piece.
So sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say it was an amazing piece, and it was amazing to watch you do it. And I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about, how you devised or how you came up with the idea of this ephemeral cabaret.
Yeah. I'm a very impulsive person, by nature also. So how I did, because like I said to you, I stayed 3 years in the street. So one point, 4 years ago, I just came to me, I want to do a performance that is like that. Will be all improvised. Then okay, all improvised, but okay, then let's put some object. The people will do. It was like that, and then I marked a date, like a day in LUME, published. I said to Naomi, I want the sound, the track, the thing. You do whatever you want. You have a list. I don't want to know. So you can put music, take off music, put sounds, put noises. What do you think? And for the guy, Chico was in the light, the same Chico. You can put any lights you want, can put a blackout, do everything. And it was very intuitively. And then I did the distribution the way you saw in Colombia for the people. And then after I did, then I thought, my God, that was the situation I was in the street when I started.
Right.
Was that? But of course I managed to do this after 3 years, but not like that, not in that level, or no, never, because was this? I was surrounded by the world, people passing in the street, the objects were there, the
Yeah.
cars, the benches, the posts, the streets, the walls, the gardens, the dog, the police, everything was there. And
Yes.
so the situation is the same. So I love to do this performance because close a cycle for me. I really go back to my base, that is this improvising, that have no structure, and the narratives, the dramaturgy, it's happening in the moment.
Yes.
And then I put as a just to finish, I put as a, let's say, as a task, that I would like to create in the people the same feeling that I have, the same playfulness. And that
Mm.
as no, I even in Colombia, no, there are moments that many people are on the stage doing whatever they want.
Yes.
Sometimes I just go out and sit, and people, like in Glasgow, when I did in Glasgow, in the, no, it was not Glasgow, it was Edinburgh, sorry, Edinburgh, in the, was a contemporary clown festival.
Yeah.
It was the first. It was beautiful. It was in a church, like in Edinburgh, all the places become a theater. And there was one point I was even, my God, how I control these people anymore. They Scotch, they got mad. Like they brought like sofas to the stage. They because it was no an open, it was not a stage. There was like in one point like 50 people, became like a disco. The put the sound.
Wow.
So that is nice when I managed to do. And it's different if there are children is in one way, if it is more adults is in another way.
Mm.
So
It's
sorry,
very
you were going to
interesting.
say.
It becomes so, this movement, because you had your solo clown show, La Scarpetta, which is very structured, and then, as you say, you moved back and completed the circle with this return to a much more open, improvised space where anything can happen. And it sort of makes me think also of like happenings in the 60s, and
Yeah.
or even maybe more like a ritual, like a community or a tribe who has a shaman or a clown or a performer who leads, conducts something, initiates something, but it's really a whole community that is involved, and anything can sort of happen, but you're there as the kind of guide.
Yeah,
in the center of it.
when you do things and then later on you think about what you did. I worked very much like that. I sometimes think that it's similar a bit the situation when I saw the Hotuas. No, I didn't speak also when you spoke about the masters, about the indigenous Kraos.
Yeah,
Who,
well, talk about
no,
that, because I was going to ask you about that.
yeah, because the situation is a bit like that. They are the ones who guide the playfulness. No, they provoke people to go there to
Yes.
this space,
Yes.
territory, like Sue likes to say. No, the clown is a territory. No, this. And then I like that, really like. And then I think when I start those, just going back to the masters, because I'm very grateful for everyone and everything I learned with them. When Luis Otavio Burnier always used to say it's important how you do things. It's not so much important what you are going to do, but how you put yourself, how you play. No, Philippe also always he likes this idea. No, I remember he saying like, "Oh, you need a good entrance And a good end. In the middle, you do whatever, something, because it's like his way of taking a piece also.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Hochua. Am I saying that right?
Yes, Hochua. Yes.
Hochua. And what? Because there's a film about this as well, a documentary which we watched.
I can send you the link later of the film, and you can put to your viewers, because it's a really, if you want to know, it's a nice. There is with English subtitles.
Just maybe talk to us a little bit about the experience and what you learned from that.
Okay, so just to giving a context, the Hochuas are this kind of shamans, of laughter from indigenous nation from Brazil called the Craos. Craos are the nation, the tribe, and the Hochua is the name of the figure. So there in their society, they have, of course, the boss. There is more like the chief, the political chief. There is the other shaman who cures through the herbs, the magical rituals and all that. And they have the Hochuas, who in their society is the top of the power. So for the Craos, the clown is the top. So it's already a society that is upside down. And they don't have the situation of performances like we do. No, we go to the theater, we go to the streets doing performance. They don't have that. The Hochua exists in the daily life. So when they feel there's a need for an intervention with something funny or provocative, or just a song or a story, they will do. When for example they are working and people are too tired, it's too hot, they can do something or if people are fighting or are having problems, they can do some things and make people together. And they also interfere in the more sacred rituals also. They do the parody, let's say. No, so this documentary was is called Hochua, was about them and their society. And I had the opportunity they invited me to go there and to be, because they didn't know a clown from our culture. Was to possibility this meeting. For me, that was really like blowing the mind, because like what we talked, our first talk was about the importance of clowns in the world and how we act and all that. And there, in this way of being a clown, this is what important. No, is important. It's how they affect the world, their society. That, like you said, is a society, is a group. No, it's not the whole planet, but it's that they do this all the time. No, they it's not like for us, it's not a professional, like we have a profession. No, but it's a functioning life. So it was really beautiful. And then I, of course, come when you meet these people, wow, what I'm doing, why I'm doing this, what kind of laughter I have, as a clown I provoke and all that. So it was really nice, and it was important also. They did the documentary. Now Ismael Aprak is the more important Hochua in Brazil. He is the master, let's say, and he's being very he's everywhere now, in clown festivals. People bring him and his other Hochua. So it's very nice, because we didn't know that, and they gave value to them, how important they are. No,
yeah, that's amazing. So do you have any plans to connect with them again, or do anything in the future?
We did many times. We did. We had other meetings after the documentary. I helped bring them for Anjos do Picadeiro first time. I made the contact. In Anjos do Picadeiro, we participate in cabarets together. We did like always improvise. It's always improvised in the street. And after that, I met them in other situations in cabarets, and where I would be, there was all the clowns with their numbers, and me and Ismael and his grandson would be the three free. We could go in anytime, inside the numbers, in between the numbers.
Wow.
Always giving space. And it's always, I feel so amazed how everything we said before about of this being aware of everything, they are amazing with that. They don't miss anything, and they just do whatever they want, because also they don't have our let's say kind of conventions we do. No, they don't. They don't. Even for people, like, they can do from themselves, of course they know people are seeing, because they also learn so fast. Like, they learn, they can play in our way or in their way also very quickly. They just see, oh, okay, it works like that, and they go.
I think it's so interesting, these points of cultural contact, right, between different versions of a similar tradition in different cultures, and really fascinating moments of synergy and connection when, and you see that in the documentary between you and the Hotua who you work with.
That is Ismael, that one.
Yes, it's very beautiful, and I recommend everyone to watch that. So I'll get the link afterwards, Ricardo, and I'll publish it for people to go and watch.
Yeah, good.
I'm just, before we finish, I just wonder if there's anything happening in LUME or in your world, in festivals or any workshops that you want to promote or to talk about for people. What do people do if they want to see your work or get involved?
Okay, I think now we are in the beginning of October. I think in the next week, or in, let's say, 10 days, we are going to publicize for our workshop sessions in next February. That is the biggest thing that is happening. Now, of course, we have work we are doing, and we still have 2 months to go. But happens in LUME, here where we live. It's called Barão Geraldo. Everyone of the performance of LUME's performance will give 1 or 2 workshops, and it's the whole month. And there will be performances in the night, talks and videos, and it's a whole program, very intense. Comes people from everywhere, from outside Brazil, from Brazil, every part of Brazil. And parallel to that, we live in a place, in a very small, like a kind of small village or town, very small, that there are many, many groups. And a lot of clowns. They say here, because it was like that, after LUME established our theater there, with the years, other people start to come and live there, because they saw the possibility of being in a small place where you can work, and then from there you travel, you come back. So there are many good groups. They say the joke here in Brazil that when people comes to Barão Geraldo, they shake a tree, the false clowns, because it's so many. No, not just clowns, but musicians and theater artists. Wow. So it's the whole month, because every group also gives workshops, and every group has its own program. And apart from that, happens an international festival, theater festival. So will be that in LUME's Facebook, Instagram, for people apply and come. It's a nice time to come here to meet us.
Yeah, the February thing is legendary. I mean, it's a thing that everybody involved in performance should go and do. I'm just posting the website in the chat
Thank you.
there, so you
Yes.
can at least go to the website. Great, Ricardo, this has been amazing. There's so much more to talk about. I just wonder if maybe we could just finish by what would you say to people who are starting out in clown now? And what advice would you give to them? How should they go about their process of development as clowns?
That is no what you say. I think you need to be around clowns. I think you need to see clowns, to look for. No, you have these photos here, no, like Garde Hooter, there's Chaplin, Fratellini, Grocki was there. So there are so many things so many possibilities in the internet now. Like when I started, and when I say that, I feel very old. I'm not so old like that, but there was no internet, so I didn't know Grok. Then when I heard Grok, but I said, who is Grok? Where I find Grok? There was no way to find Grok. So now people have all this access. No, they can see. It's important to see, go to the circles, and try not to be prejudiced. I think we can learn with everyone, with every clown.
But then, maybe also, as you say, as you experience, just being on the street and improvising and playing seems to me is a greater way to learn.
Yeah. It's the streets that I used to do that, I think, are different from the streets now. The streets now are different. So I suggest go alone. But if you have other friends who want to do that, go in group, go in couples. Then you experiment in the street, go back to the workroom, see what you did, what happens. Don't take your time, don't try to close everything. And of course, now also you have people with that you can work with this and that, and like there are so many good people. But then don't start just doing workshops. Don't stay just doing workshops. In one point, you must build something and go to the people, or do this at the same time. And face the audience, so you can face yourself, really clearly.
Yes. Face yourself really clearly.
Yes.
I think this is a great point to end on, Ricardo. Yes. What it's all about, and it's what you said right at the beginning, that it's like everybody has to carve their own path and do their thing in their own way, and to do that, you learn so much from just being in front of an audience and putting yourself out there.
Sure. Yes.
So thank you so much. It's been really, really pleasurable and interesting and fascinating talking to you. I'm sure we could talk for another several hours.
We could, yes. We are both passionate about.
Yes.
So exactly. Barnaby, thank you for inviting me. It was really a pleasure, and it's a really nice work that you do. So many young people wanting information or to investigate this universe that is so rich. So good work. Thank you for your work, and we hope to see you soon.
Yes. Thank you, Ricardo. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, thank you so much to Ricardo Puccetti. That was another wonderful Clown-versation. I hope you've learned a lot. I certainly have. And thank you for joining us, folks. Thank you for being here for another Clown-versation. As I said before, please support the free work that Clown Spirit is doing. You can go to Buy Me a Coffee /Clown Spirit and just contribute a little bit every time you see a Clown-versation. And that would help to keep the work free and keep us making it accessible for everyone. Next week, I'm going to be doing a repeat Clown-versation. It's the first time I've done this. I'm bringing back the amazing Jeff Johnson. You know, I talked to him about a year ago, and he was in the midst of COVID delirium, and he did it anyway, and he was amazing. But he wants to do it again so that he can make a little bit more sense this time. But I'm not sure if he will or not, but let's see. We're going to be talking about specifically a concern of his, which is something we were talking about today with Ricardo, which is how to get out of the head trap, the space of being in the head, and get back into the body. And he's got some ideas about that. So thank you so much for being here. As always, keep clowning. Have a wonderful day.